All right, so, oh, it's backwards. There we go. All right, so, it seems like my boss is going to be cool with me doing the medical study, which is amazing. And my sister, I talked to her because she did it months and months and months and months ago. She said that hers was actually in two segments. So it was a month long, but it was like 2 weeks and then 2 weeks. So it might not be a month straight, which might simplify things and make it easier. Anyway, I go in for, or I don't go in. I do the rest of my like screening call on Tuesday. But at the very least, they're willing to work with me, which is amazing. And oh my god, where are my cards? Here they are. I don't know. I got this feeling today. I was talking to this older gentleman who he asked me about my name once before, and I kind of like gave him the runaround. I was like, oh, it's a really long story. And I kind of left it at that. And he was like, well, one day maybe I'll hear it. And then he came back. And then this time he like had totally forgotten that my name was Dragonfly. So he was like, why did you change your name? And so I told him, like, I'm a life coach, essentially had a near-death experience, kind of burned my entire life to the ground, changed careers, moved states, left my relationship, became a life coach so that I can help people get through the situations that I've been through. And he just goes, okay, so I just got divorced, and like went into this whole spiel about, I guess menopause hit pretty hard, and his wife was just like, I'm done. And had an affair, and like, this guy, he seems like a great guy, you know? But things just changed for her, and she couldn't do it anymore. So he's dating at like 60 years old, and he looks good. He looks very good for 60. But he's dealing with a big age difference. He's dealing with somebody that's 35, and we were talking about how like it's my age, and we were talking about like the differences that older people have in their romantic partnerships, situations, communication styles, and then people that are millennials like me and her, and how we communicate differently, the things that we prefer, and then how that's different from even Gen Z. And like it was just this whole process of like talking about this stuff. And I was telling him like, well, if it was me, I'd want you to text me back right away. If it was me, I would want spontaneity. I would want to just like, I would want you to just show up at my house or call me, and not text, call me and be like, hey, you free tonight? What are we doing? You know, something like that. And it was like right when I was going over the things that I would prefer to happen, like if I was in her shoes, then I just look up and Jim Crush is standing like towering over me. He's tall, but he's not like crazy tall. But like I have to look up and then go, and he's just standing there looking at me. I'm like, oh hey. And I think, you know, I read energy, so like I'm fairly certain I'm not wrong. But you know, you never absolutely know. But I think he was jealous. Queen of Cups on the split there. That's very like psychic energy. And even though I think he could probably tell, because like I stopped and I said hello to him before I continued my conversation. And like clearly we were talking about somebody else. I hope he pieced that together. But I think I felt jealousy. the good kind of jealousy, you know, the good, the reasonable amount kind of jealousy, the kind that I felt when he walked that girl out, where I was like, that's my fucking fish. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I felt from him. And you know, it was followed by more staring, which, as we were talking about, has been less the last couple days. And I think the correlation is that the more friends he has around, the easier it is for him to be distracted and not be thinking about, you know, anything else or anyone else, which is reasonable. Like I said, he's literally friends with everyone there. Everybody there knows each other. Like, they're all there every day. They all see each other all the time. They all went to high school with each other and have known each other since they were like kids. And it's just like, one of my coworkers called it like the high school that never ends. Because when you graduate, you're still going to see the same exact people. So I don't know. It's a very interesting, like, what's the right word? Social network that I'm witnessing there. But there was a bunch of like stolen glances and stuff like that at first during the night, and then, you know, all his boys came and he was like distracted and doing all sorts of crazy shit with them. I saw him do calisthenics for the first time, which was wild. The kind of stuff that I've been like thinking about doing and trying to get myself strong enough to do. Like, I'm still working on my dead hangs, just being able to support myself in a hanging position, not even moving my legs or working on core strength, just the shoulder and grip strength. And he just like flipped himself into the sky like it was nothing, and it's nuts to me. Absolutely crazy. But on the way out today, there was another one of those long looks. And I'm getting the feeling that there's about to be movement here. I think so. I think there's about to be movement here. But I don't know what comes next, necessarily. But I did think about the fact that had I been more open to telling this guy, the first guy, the older guy, had I been open to telling him the story behind my name sooner, I might have been able to help him in a way. He seemed appreciative for the advice that I did give him, which essentially boiled down to, we're bringing the 80s back, boom boxes, throwing rocks at windows, showing up spontaneously in a romantic, not creepy way, and calling instead of texting. And not waiting 5 days before you try and message somebody. Doing it when you want to, because that's genuine, that's authentic. And I was kind of on the spot, and I didn't have my cards. Well, I had them, but I wasn't about to whip them out right at the desk. So, like, I couldn't really use my cards to read the energy. So I was going based off of what I could feel from him and what I could feel from her. And what kind of lined up was, I got the feeling that she wanted spontaneity and, like, impromptu kind of, like, romanticism. And he was like, well, she just got divorced from a guy who was in the military and was, like, super obsessive about, you know, the gym or, like, his work or whatever else. So for her, I'm sure somebody that shows up with flowers is a big deal. And so that's kind of where we landed with it. But I think I forgot his name. Hopefully I'll see him again soon and get more, like, details on that, because I feel like it's not that terribly often that people are just like, you're a life coach, help me, you know, help me out. And every interaction, passive or otherwise, happens for a reason. And this is the first time that I have felt that maybe Gym Crush gets jealous about me too. The star. Crest of light. Guess we'll see what happens.